Welcome to this week's edition of Inside the Playbook. We have a whole lot of stuff to talk about, so we're going to get right into it as Jared Goodman and Justin Burtis are here, and we're going to recap last week's games. And right out of the gate, let's talk football. And the first time in 33 years, we're talking about a tie. Didn't think that would ever happen again with the overtime system changing, but Mother Nature won. As we said earlier, Mother Nature won. William Penn and Central Methodist 0, 7-7 tie. Just couldn't get the Lightning to stop. So,
yeah, it was really a bummer because I thought the Statesmen were really starting to move the ball well, really starting to establish the running game. They were actually driving as we went to a delay. It was about 2 minutes before halftime, and maybe if we would have been able to finish that half off, get a score, and then maybe called it, things would have been a little different. It would have gone down as a win. Yeah. But like you said, Mother Nature undefeated. So
yeah. I know Coach Hafner was saying, I guess the game's over now, so it doesn't matter, but he was saying that they were already preparing for a fourth down faked punt. So, I mean, if they would have converted that, who knows, and then maybe gone into halftime with the lead. And then Central Methodist probably would have fought a little bit and said, oh, no, we're going to wait it out. But they were perfectly fine calling it, which is, understandable because it ended up lightning forever and ever.
Yeah, the whole rest of the night was essentially washed away. So, and the next day, too, so it would have been hard and it kept going.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do about it. So it is what it is.
Yeah, Ben Sherman looked good. He had ripped off a couple big runs, as did Tommy Imbu.
Yeah.
He looked good.
Yeah, Archer Charles was running well on the outside.
Everybody was coming along. They were really starting to mix
Mm-hmm.
things up. They were, the option was really starting to work, and they were able to throw the ball downfield a couple times. One right out of the gate on the first drive to Jeremiah Benson.
Yeah.
It was a third down conversion, and I thought, from what we did see, it looked really good going into this upcoming week, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah,
and defensively pretty good. Just a little soft perhaps on the short to intermediate routes, but otherwise they didn't let Central Methodist throw down the field very well.
Yeah. So, 7-7 tie, first time since 86 that we've had a tie, and hopefully it will be the first time again, or next time will be 33 years.
Last
so
time
we're
for the
about
next
that.
33 years, yeah.
Exactly. All right, Jared, let's talk about women's volleyball.
Yeah, volleyball, last Friday against Grandview. Last Friday against Grandview. They came out looking real good. They took a set from the number 7 ranked team in the nation. They won that set 25-19. They hit 316 in that set. Unfortunately, as the game progressed, they had 2 injuries to a couple key players. That's Libby Zorn and Alyssa Young. Unfortunately, that kind of took the wind out of the sails a little bit, and Grandview was really able to take advantage of those those injuries, and like I said, took the wind out of the sails. Momentum change, and Grandview ended up taking the next 3 sets and winning 3-1. Corinne and Dan both had 10 kills each, but without that third hitter or that middle or the outside, it makes it hard to go to them all the time. Corinne Campbell had 24 digs, and it actually helped net her Heart of America Defensive Player of the Week. She had a really good week last week. And then moving on to Clark, which was Tuesday. The Statesmen, once again, they were really shorthanded. They lost 3-0 to Clark. Never really got the offense going, and like I said, their offense was pretty thin after injuries. We did see Cecily Lephart get fed, and she stepped up a bit. She ended up with 7 kills and 31 attempts, but it just shows the confidence that coach has in her that she's able to play defense and then come up and hit as well. So I look to her to make some adjustments we don't know the status of those injuries, but we'll see how much longer they have going forward without those 2 players. And pretty much it.
Unfortunately, that's the 2 best teams out of the North that they faced. Grandview, anytime you take a set against them, is great. They're not the same team they were last year, but they're still really solid. I think they're still top 15, even though they lost last week and stuff. And then Clark, who beat Grandview last week. So maybe that's where Grandview's a little mad too. Like, all right, we lost one, and then we lost a set to you guys, and we, woke up the giant. But Clark's definitely not an easy team to face, and going on a long road trip up to Butte. So
and it's just unfortunate because I was talking to Coach Cleaver, and she really liked the way that they matched up with Clark. But unfortunately, like with those injuries, it's tough when you're missing a hitter like Libby Zorn.
Yeah. And
Alyssa Young had been playing very, very well, especially as of late. So.
And she was kind of the energy driver at times.
Yeah, definitely. She always came up with a big kill, this and that, and just didn't work out for the Statesmen up there in Dubuque.
So we'll bounce back and look to see what they can do this coming week. Some easier competition, I think, coming down the pipe now. But would have been nice to go 1-1 this past week against those teams. Talking about men's soccer, and then Justin will switch over to you. But men's soccer, you want to talk about a team that's rolling right now, all the way up to number 16 now, courtesy of a 3-1 win over Baker on Sunday, which a game was another one of those Mother Nature won the battle. We ended up winning the war, finally getting
the storm.
Yeah, same storm, but fortunately we were able to reschedule for Sunday and took it to Baker, number 9 at the time. Goals by Messina, Martinez, and Bonato. Something that a lot of people probably didn't notice in this, and I don't know if I made a big note of it in my story, but Baker had a chance to score on a PK midway through the second half, would have tied the game at 2-2. They missed high, and then 3 minutes later, Eduardo Bonato finishes a PK of his own. Now, instead of going 2-2, it's now 3-1, and then we were able to hold on. So, a huge win there.
Yeah, and I will say also there was a corner kick opportunity, and they got it in the box, and it was loose. Munoz was out of the goal, and Joe Minton on the line kicked it out. So they actually had a chance to make it 3-2, make it closer. But number 2 stepped up, made the kick save. Yeah,
no, that's a huge win over Baker, and then Iowa Wesleyan against basically a reserve squad that we threw out there. I think there was only about 3 or 4 starters that actually saw the field in that game. Took care of Iowa Wesleyan easy 5-1. Bernardo Lima with a couple goals. Musa Nadalles, Celestino Perez, and Noel Acevedo. Names we don't normally say, but those guys, happy for them that they were able to get on the tally sheet. So took care of them. No trap game there, no problems. And again, those huge wins going all the way back to Benedictine, then Grandview, who's now receiving votes as well. Baker, who's now just number 10. And then Iowa Wesleyan, which didn't count in the ranking, but we're up to number 16, highest ever, and rolling into a huge, and we'll talk about this later, a huge matchup with Central Methodist on Saturday. So exciting times for that team, for sure.
Yeah, and it really, that Iowa Wesleyan game really just shows the incredible depth of this team. I mean, those are guys that you don't really, like you said, we don't mention them a lot, but there's some guys out there in the field that would have started on a lot of teams in this conference. And, they know their role, and they, when they're asked to do a job, they go out there and do a job, and it's just a testament to Coach Highcock and his staff and what he's been able to do with the men's squad this year.
Yeah,
for sure.
Jonathan Riley, there was the only one of the starters that played the whole game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Donnie Messina only played part of the game. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it was just nice to see so many other new faces out there. And we played on the turf, which is probably a good thing because it sounds like Saturday might be rain again, so we might get moved over to the turf, and maybe they got a little more experience out there. And the guys will be ready no matter what. So, all right, talk about the women, Justin.
Well, the women only had one game this week. It was down at Baker. They ended up losing 4-1. They were down 2. Ended up getting a goal back, courtesy of Sierra Parrish. But then the second half, again, it was one of those games where they kind of just didn't quite have the same edge in the second half as they did in the first. Gave up 2 goals in the second to take the 4-1 loss. Not a ton of shots overall, again, under 10 shots total. I think Bella Parami led the team with 2. It's just the same story at the moment, that if they can just string some passes together and get some more shots on goal, they'll have a better chance of staying in these games. And we'll just see how that develops. But until then, they're still not quite on the right page.
Yeah, Baker is an improved team from last year, but still not, I don't think, probably considered one of the top few for sure. And now you got Central Methodist coming to town on Saturday, and they beat Benedictine, who was the top runner from the women's side. So I guess you're kind of looking at the top team and the Eagles now coming to town, and it doesn't get any easier, and you don't expect it to. In the heart, every matchup's going to be difficult. So hopefully at some point they can get the monkey off the back, get a win, and start rolling positively, and maybe get a run. And there's enough games that could get a run and make the tournament, but right now very much on the outside looking in. So trying to scrap something together pretty quickly here. Cross country was off. They are finally back to action this coming weekend. We'll talk about that. You want to talk about women's golf?
They were off.
They were off as well. Thank you.
So they have nothing.
Never mind.
For
yes, that was last week.
While as well. We'll talk about their upcoming schedule next.
Yep. Okay. And then men's golf was at the Portachima Invitational down in the Lake of Ozarks, and area in Missouri on Monday and Tuesday, which is going to be the conference preview site, or the conference site. So this was a preview tournament. They finished 5th out of 11, which doesn't seem real exciting, but again, considering the team that they've got pulled together right now, several individuals that expect to be huge contributors in the spring, not available right now, and yet they still finished 5th overall and 3rd amongst Hart schools, only really the perennial powers of Grandview and Mount Mercy ahead of them. Oliver Stanway, up and down tournament, or down and up if you want to look at it that way, 81-73, so he can show that he can go really low, but he has, unfortunately, at times has an 80 in him every once in a while. And then Oscar Flores Martinez, a couple 77s as well. So, again, this fall is kind of well, let's just see what we can throw out there. But the guys are performing well with who they have there, and Stanway is going to be a big part of what they have in the spring, and he's already showing, with a few really good rounds early on. So, should be interesting there. Anything additionally from last week? I didn't forget nothing, right? We're good?
No.
Okay, sweet. All right, go ahead.
Eduardo, national player.
Oh, yeah,
shoot,
I forgot about that, yeah. Eduardo Bonato, with his 4 goals, 3 against Grandview and then 1 against Baker, ended up being the conference and NAI Offensive Player of the Week. So, second time we've had that, second in as many years, with Austin Munoz winning last year. So, just another feather in the hat for a really successful run lately for men's soccer. So,
yeah, 3rd week in a row they've had Austin Munoz past 2 weeks.
Yeah, for conference player of the week,
yeah. Bonato.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So, very cool stuff. All right, when we come back,
the student community at William Penn made an impression on me. It's a real statement that you can come here and be part of something real.
We have the opportunity to participate in activities, to be involved, to make a difference on campus.
The coaches are awesome. It's easy to play for coaches that care about you. It gets more effort out of you because you appreciate what they do.
The real experiences at Penn have helped shape who I'm going to be when I graduate. I work harder because I want to be part of the conversation in class.
William Penn gives me the freedom to be who I am now and the tools for who I want to be.
Diversity runs deep at William Penn.
Not only in the student body, which is made up of people from all over the world,
but also in the diverse opportunities for hands-on learning. The equipment you get to use is legit. The experiences here will help me get a job when I graduate. I am a leader.
I am a trailblazer.
I'm proud to be a statesman.
William Penn University. Make a statement, be a statesman.
Oskaloosa. It's our community, and we're thankful to be a part of it. Telling its stories, sharing its smiles. We're building community, keeping you informed, giving you a voice, letting you know you're never alone during the victories and the losses, happiness and pain. For tomorrow's a new day, and we'll be there, working for you, ready to tell your story. That's our commitment. It's what we do, now and in the future, because we're always on. We're Oskaloosa News.
Welcome back, Statesman Nation. We are joined now by head cross-country coach Sean Gosewisch, as well as freshman men's cross-country runner William DeJesus out of Homestead, Florida. Guys, appreciate you coming in for a few minutes. You guys have been off for a while, so you're all sorts of rested up and ready to go. Should be excited for some competition again this weekend.
Yeah, I think we're ready to roll.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, let's talk about how we got to this point. Talk about day one, preseason, brand new, not a brand new team, lots of new individuals.
Quite a few new individuals.
Just rewind a little bit and come from day one to here.
Yeah, I think we all came together on day one pretty well as a unit. Everybody kind of clicked very well together from the start, which is always good for any program. You want everybody to get along, everybody kind of on the same path towards a shared goal. So We've been putting in a lot of hard work over the month, just a little over a month actually.
Yeah.
As Will will tell you in a second, probably. We've been putting in some miles. We've been doing a lot of good workouts. We've had 3 races under our belt now that I think we've performed well at as individuals and as a team. So, it's been a lot of work, and it's been a long month and a half here. But October is championship racing season. Now's the time to start really getting things down pat. Start racing really well going into November.
Yeah. What did you learn from the first month or so with, again, having such a young team? I mean, there's a few, obviously, returners there that are, contributing, but how much has the team, again, how much have you figured out about this team, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, quite a bit. It's a learning experience from both sides. Student athletes to me to the student athletes. And right now, I mean, everybody's open to learning new things and open to the new experiences they experience with the program. But a lot of it's just kind of gentle nudges of reminders, at least from my end, to the athletes. Sometimes freshmen come in, they don't necessarily have a lot of experience with longer runs. So when I say Sunday we're going to go 10, 11 miles for the girls, 13, 14 for the guys, there's a lot of eye-popping.
Well, they're expecting I don't get to watch football.
Right,
That's what I did in high school, right?
There are no days off anymore.
Yeah.
And some of that comes with a learning curve.
Yeah.
But we've overcome it so far, and we're still chugging along.
Definitely. How important was it to have these last few weeks? Were you able to, I don't know how injured you guys were, or maybe just to be able to rest some muscles?
Yeah, I mean, injury-wise, we were a little beat up here and there after 3 back-to-back races, back-to-back weekends, sorry. But I think we're recovering pretty well. Realistically, there's just killer illness going around right now. It's kind of devastating us. So honestly, having this past week without a race and as many sick athletes as we had actually turned out pretty well in our favor.
Yeah, definitely. Talk about that freshman class here. You got William, you have Vernon Trozy. You got a strong class that I know you're very excited about. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, both sides, men's and women's, are being led by freshmen right now. Like you said, Vernon Trozy on the men's, Michaela Kamek on the women's. But, especially on the men's, right behind them, we've got Will and Axel. Mm-hmm. Being led by 3 freshmen consistently is a very good sign for the program.
Yeah.
Because after that, that starts filling in with some of the returners who are kind of more knowledgeable: Terry Jackson, Kenny Bolton, Julian Davis. But then again, after that breakup, there's a lot more freshmen inserting themselves into that top 7, top 10 area. And as long as we keep plugging at it, we'll just get better and better.
Yeah. All right, highlight this guy a little bit, brag on him.
Will's a definite workhorse. I mean, he takes in anything I throw at him, just eats it up, processes it, and gets better week to week. He is definitively more of a middle distance athlete, I think, before coming here, but he never raised a word of concern about cross country. He just keeps his head down and just keeps pushing, which I appreciate as a coach. And I think we both know that the more aerobic work he does with cross country, the better he'll be in track regardless. So he's been a great boost for us.
Yeah. Finally, let's talk about expectations for the rest of the year. Now that you have a few weeks under the belt and everybody is healthier, obviously you got to work through the illness, all that. But what are you looking for in the back half?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a great front runner in Vernon, and I think he's going to keep doing his thing, going out and getting after it. So realistically, I'm looking at guys like Will, Axel, Terry, and Kenny to fill in those 2 through 5 spots as close as possible and just get as close to Vernon as we can.
Yeah.
As well as I do, the team scores, all that matters at the end of the day. And we just got to put ourselves out there and see how we stack up against conference teams.
Definitely. All right. We're going to switch it over here. Will, you got an opportunity to hear from Coach and everything, but talk as on the student-athlete side of things, especially, coming just from high school. Talk about the biggest difference for you from high school to William Penn.
Well, definitely it's more, I guess you could say, concentrated in my strength.
Yeah.
Cross country it's definitely longer, but I am trying to handle it as well as I can. It is going well, but pretty much it's more high school compared to college. For me, high school is basically just a bunch of athletes running.
Right.
College is more concentrated. Through high school, there was either very fast runners or just decent runners.
Yeah.
College is definitely more concentrated strength-wise.
Yeah, everybody's good at
Yeah,
college. I mean, well,
definitely.
not everybody, but almost everybody's good. That's the situation. So, talk about having this strong freshman class. You guys are growing together and everything. How much are you able to feed off of each other? Knowing Vernon's talked about in the past, and I've heard it, so he's probably told a lot of people that he's got high expectations for himself. How much is that driving you to say, all right, if he's going to push himself to that, then I'm gonna join him?
Well, me personally, I like to be either the best or try to be close to the best. So on our runs, I try to stay as close to him as possible for as long as possible. And it just helps me get better as long as him pushing. And I believe we'll have a really strong team this year. Yeah,
no, definitely. I mean, you guys have already shown a lot early on. So let's talk about how your goals have changed now. You've got a few races that you've put in. You figured out, okay, this is what collegiate running's like on the cross country side. Again, how have your goals changed?
Well, coming into college, I didn't really have goals for cross country as they are longer races, and the longest race I've run was a 5K through high school. So I just wanted to come in, start off, let's see how I start off, get stronger through the season, and finish as strong as I can. Now through coming up track season, my main goal was to break 4 flat in the 1500 meter. And I believe with the long runs and strength training we've had, I'm really confident in breaking it.
Good. Awesome. Cool. Coach, let's come back to you for just a second, then we're going to come back to Will and give him a breather here. Let's talk about this weekend. Brisbane-Lundin, always a huge event, normally 20, 30-ish teams, and it's always a good one. I know you guys are always excited to go over there and test yourself out against the best of the Midwest. So let's preview that a little bit on the men's side.
Yeah, I mean, this might be the first time we've been there that it hasn't been above 90 degrees.
Yeah, it's gonna be
people
cool.
falling all over the place.
Totally different.
Yeah, so it'll be actually very good racing conditions, like 60 some odd. No rain. They have a really really nice course. It's 2 loops for both men's and women's. Fairly flat without being pancake flat. So it should produce good times. It should produce. I think there are 27 teams entered right now, and they're keeping it as one race for both men's and women's.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes they do split it up between a gold and blue division, but this year they're just keeping it all together. So it'll be one giant race, which isn't the worst for us either. That everybody in it together. You can see the front runners clearly. Who you've got to stick with. So we'll have plenty of people to run with at any given time, and it'll just be up to the athletes themselves to make sure they're in the best position and just try to find each other and work with each other in such a large field.
I'm going to let you elaborate on this, but it's obviously in a big race like that, the key is to come out strong and not let 250 other guys sprint out in front of you, and now you have to clip off it, guys. Right. But you obviously don't want to come out and sprint, and then you're dead 200 yards in. So
exactly, it's a lot of give and take, and a lot of being patient and confident in yourself at the same time. Because, like you said, you don't want to go out in 450 with the leaders who probably can handle that and maintain it through the race. Right. And most of our athletes just aren't in a place where we can do that yet. So you've got to be smart about it at the start. You've got to be really on top of it and just tough in the middle, where paces tend to slow down and people tend to kind of settle in. That's where we need to do the most passing rather than being passed. Yeah. Then, I had an old coach that used to say anybody can finish the race, and that's true. Just finish after you run a smart race, and that's kind of what we're looking to do.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Will, we got 4 more questions for you. This is part of our Furious 4. You can thank Jared for these. All right, really quick here. If you could do any other sport outside of cross country or track, I got to throw track in here too, because I know what you'd say. It would be track if it wasn't cross country. If you could do one sport beyond those 2, what would it be?
Volleyball.
Volleyball. Okay. All right. So you're excited that we have men's volleyball going on. Sweet. All right. Number 2. What's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal would have to be, let's go with a cat.
A cat.
Yeah.
Just a normal cat. We're not talking bobcat. We're not talking cat. Just a cat. Sweet. Any type of cat?
No.
Okay. All right. I don't like cats, so you're way outside of my realm here. All right. Number 3. What's your favorite post-race meal?
Favorite post-race meal would have to be Subway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything in particular, Subway?
Cold cut.
Cold cut.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, Stargate, if you could live in any other decade, what would it be? Or any decade. So you could stay in this decade if you want, but any decade that you'd really say, this is where I want.
It definitely have to be the 70s.
Okay.
They got the best cars.
Right.
That's all you need.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Excuse me. Thanks, guys, so much. Once again, Sean Gosewisch of the men's cross-country team. We'll have him right back, but William DeJesus, freshman out of Homestead, Florida. We'll be back in a minute.
The student community at William Penn made an impression on me. It's a real statement that you can come here and be part of something real.
You have the opportunity to participate in activities, to be involved, to make a difference on campus.
The coaches are awesome. It's easy to play for coaches that care about you. It gets more effort out of you because you appreciate what they do.
The real experiences at Penn have helped shape who I'm going to be when I graduate. I work harder because I want to be part of the conversation in class.
William Penn gives me the freedom to be who I am now and the tools for who I want to be.
Diversity runs deep at William Penn.
Not only in the student body, which is made up of people from all over the world,
but also in the diverse opportunities for hands-on learning. The equipment you get to use is legit. The experiences here will help me get a job when I graduate. I am a leader.
I am a trailblazer.
I'm proud to be a statesman.
William Penn University. Make a statement, be a statesman.
We are now joined by Ashlee Johnson, freshman women's cross-country runner out of Marshalltown, Iowa. Ashlee, appreciate you coming in. Coach, good to see you again.
Yep, good to see you.
It's been a whole minute. All right, before we get to you, Ashlee, we're going to talk to Coach a little bit more. Find out the same things about the women's side. So let's rewind, talk about preseason all the way up until, what are we on, October 3rd, whatever day it is now.
Sure. Women, very similar to the men. We really came together pretty well early on. A little bit different. We did unfortunately lose a couple athletes before we really got into the swing of things on the women's side, which hurts. We've been trying to build depth for a while now,
yes.
But we do have a handful of girls that are very good for us right now. So similar to the guys, came together as a team, and they've just worked really well together and as a very tight unit to accomplish what we can throughout the season.
Yeah, you guys are a little bit stronger on the women's side in returning number, not per se numbers, I should say, but returning talent.
Right.
But obviously a really strong freshman class coming in as well. Let's talk about how they have meshed together.
Yeah, there's no animosity at any point. Sometimes you get a sport where a freshman comes in and takes over the lead role, and somebody might take offense to that. But no, all these girls are all on the same page and working together, and it's not a matter of who does best on the team. It's how the team does overall.
Yeah.
Which is the main goal for us overall. And like you said, very strong freshman. And I'll use that in air quotes here because I know Ashlee is a freshman by being the first time in our program.
Correct.
But she is a transfer student.
Right.
But both her and Michaela Kamek, a true freshman, have added great depth to this program. They've helped us out a lot, and they get along very well with the rest of the girls that have returned.
Definitely. Elaborate a little bit more, talking about this freshman class, how they've been able to adjust and, kind of jump out as leaders now.
Yeah, I was a little hesitant at first. You never know what kind of experience a freshman has behind them coming into college. You don't know how they're going to react to your specific training program. But so far they've handled it in stride. Surprisingly so, actually. I think a lot of the newcomers, especially on the women's side, have kind of just taken the work I throw at them, and they spit it right back out, and they get significantly better week to week.
Yeah.
And there are obviously bumps in the road here and there, little aches and pains, but even then, they still keep pushing through within reason, obviously. But they don't let anything stop them at any point.
All right, highlight this young lady for a minute. Talk about the importance of her being on the team.
Yeah, Ashlee comes to us with a lot of experience as a high school runner, a little bit of experience collegiately at her old college. I'll let her cover that in a second here. But she's definitely one of those athletes that regardless of what hurts or what's going on in that day, she'll just kind of throw it aside, come to practice with a laugh and a smile, and push through. She gives it her all each and every time. Which, as a coach, I definitely appreciate. But she definitely brings a certain toughness and a certain cheery attitude to the program that plays well with the rest of the girls' squad.
Okay. Ashlee, coach has talked very nicely about you, so I don't know if that's a normal thing or not, or it's like, Johnson, run harder. I don't know. Talk about just your transferring to William Penn, I guess, the whole story, in Cliff Note version.
Yeah, so I started out at Missouri Western. I got recruited by Coach Mark Bierbaum, and he was all about it. I really chose that school because of him and how much faith he had in me. And the devastating part, 2 weeks before I moved in, Bierbaum was released as a coach. Mm-hmm. So I was stuck. I couldn't switch because I had already signed in. I had signed on. Well, then the new coach came in, and he cut all of our freshman scholarships. So that was a tough one. And I was like, do I want to run? Am I doing this without a scholarship? Mm-hmm. What am I going to get out of this? Or should I just focus on school? So I chose to end my running career. I practiced with the team for a couple weeks just to see if that's something that I wanted to do. I hated the fact that I'd be done running because that's always been my goal. Yeah. So I took that semester off, and then I reached out to Goose, and I was like, hey, would you still be willing to have me as a runner? Because he'd reached out to me before I chose Missouri Western. And he did, because I regretted not running. I missed it so much. I'd call my dad all the time, like, hey, I don't know what to do. I can go out on a run, but it's not the same. So he was like, well, we can look into it again. And thank goodness Goose emailed me back. Yeah. And now here I am.
There you go. Obviously missing the competition. Unless you're one of those weird people that just likes running just for the fun of running. Like just missing the competitive edge and all that, for sure. Talk about... as a team, you guys have solid returners and obviously a solid freshman. You guys run really well in a pack. Talk about how good that is for a runner to be able to have other people to feed off of.
Yeah. So ever since I was a freshman in high school, I couldn't tell you the last time I didn't run in a pack. So every single coach I've had is a pack mentality. Mm-hmm. So we'd always start out in a race, no matter how fast someone went out, say I'd go out too fast, those girls would go with me. Right. But we'd all stick together. And I really learned through that process that you're going to do a lot better if you guys can stick it out together. And, you learn a lot when you're running with the girls every day. So we just push each other. And then in the race, you're like, okay, I can't let her go. Because then you're not letting just yourself down, you're letting your team down. Mm-hmm. Because you can physically go with them. And you don't want to be the one that lets back.
Right. I feel like that's a heck of a lot more fun running in a pack too, just having practice instead of running by yourself and you're just out on some random street.
I could tell you
this practice be over?
The girls.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We have way too much time on our hands. When coach tells us to go run 10 miles, it's like, oh, we run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, all right, what else? Literally have the list of things to talk about. Sure. Now that you have a couple races under your belt at the NAIA level, talk about how your goals may have changed from what you brought in August, excuse me.
Yeah, so when I was running in NCAA, I guess the focus really wasn't on team. It's more of be that individual who can score pretty highly. So I guess I came into the mentality of, well, I need to bust my butt. I need to be one of those top runners. Mm-hmm. And starting to practice with the team, I've really noticed, no, this is a team thing still. You can still run as a pack. There doesn't need to just be that one outstanding runner. You can do more as a team than you can as an individual. So I've kind of grown into, okay, what can I do for my team? Who do I need to stick with? And how do I keep pushing through?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Coach, we're going to bring back to you for a second. Let's talk about expectations for the rest of the year on the women's side. Now, again, that you've seen them in competition a few times.
Sure, yeah. First and foremost is to keep doing what we're doing. Like we've talked about so far, they run great in a pack. The spread between 1 and 5 is generally around a minute, which is pretty good at this level. So keep running well as a team, keep progressing as a team. As long as everybody gets faster together, then we do better as a team. I know we haven't raced in a while, so I'm not really sure where we stand in conference rankings. But as of a few weeks ago, I think the ladies were ranked 8th in our conference, which is by no means the best, but I believe it's better than we have.
But it's an improvement.
Yeah, a significant improvement than we have been over the past couple of years. So as long as we stay happy and healthy and just keep putting in the work, I think things are going to go well for us for the rest of the season.
Definitely. Let's talk about the Brisbane-Lundeen on the women's side again. It's going to be a huge race. Fortunately, the temperatures are going to be down, so all good things, and I'm sure the ladies are really excited to get back on the course.
I think we're excited to compete again. Probably less so because it is a 6K. We don't run that many 6Ks at the NAIA level.
I saw your tweet about that. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
6K.
None of the girls are really that happy. I mean, you can say it's only 1,000 meters, but that's
1,000 meters.
That's like four extra minutes of running.
Yeah.
So, but it's always good to kind of race over distance every once in a while, because if you're racing well for a 6K, then you drop 1,000 meters off of that, and you're bound to race well for a 5K. So. Regardless, competition is still going to be really good, and I expect to do good things.
Definitely. Yeah, obviously, it's not like you're... sorry, frog in the throat. You're not obviously running 3 miles every practice.
Right.
You're like, we're just going to run 5K and just do whatever. No, you're pressing yourself farther to prepare for a lighter race. So Definitely. All right, Ashlee, a few questions here, and we'll get you out of here. But the Furious 4, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. All right, what are you currently binge watching? Because let's be honest, that's what people do when they're on Netflix and Hulu. It's binge watching. What are you?
It's Grey's Anatomy at the moment. Everyone was like, watch this show, and I'm like, not right now. Like it's too hyped. Yeah. And now I'm watching it. Now I'm addicted.
Now you get it, right?
Yeah.
Now you understand. Okay. All right. Number 2, what's your dream vacation?
Good question.
Tough one, huh?
Yeah. Just go somewhere warm and not have to come back.
Okay. Not come back.
Yeah.
So not dream vacation. It's dream living.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to be. Okay. All right. Number 3, favorite type of food?
Cereal.
Cereal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this one. keep her around, yeah. Any type of cereal?
Life.
Yeah. Good. I haven't had life in forever either. No. Good one. All right. Last but not least, if you could have dinner with any 2 people, past, present, living, dead, they don't have to be famous, just any 2 people, who would it be?
Probably my grandma, because she's passed away. She passed away my sophomore year. And then the other one would be my coach from high school, Brian Wag, because he's been my biggest motivation throughout running. He's really the reason why I am the runner I am. Okay.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Ashlee, as well as Coach. When we come back, so again, Ashlee Johnson, of the women's cross-country team, redshirt freshman, basically, out of Marshalltown, Iowa. So thank them so much for their time. Best of luck the rest of the season. When we come back, we will be previewing all of next week's games.
The student community at William Penn made an impression on me. It's a real statement that you can come here and be part of something real.
You have the opportunity to participate in activities, to be involved, to make a difference on campus.
The coaches are awesome. It's easy to play for coaches that care about you. It gets more effort out of you because you appreciate what they do.
The real experiences at Penn have helped shape who I'm going to be when I graduate. I work harder because I want to be part of the conversation in class.
William Penn gives me the freedom to be who I am now and the tools for who I want to be.
Diversity runs deep at William Penn.
Not only in the student body, which is made up of people from all over the world,
but also in the diverse opportunities for hands-on learning. The equipment you get to use is legit. The experiences here will help me get a job when I graduate. I am a leader.
I am a trailblazer.
I'm proud to be a statesman.
William Penn University. Make a statement, be a statesman.
Oskaloosa. It's our community, and we're thankful to be a part of it. Telling its stories, sharing its smiles. We're building community, keeping you informed, giving you a voice, letting you know you're never alone during the victories and the losses, happiness and pain. For tomorrow's a new day, and we'll be there, working for you, ready to tell your story. That's our commitment. It's what we do, now and in the future, because we're always on. We're Oskaloosa News.
Welcome back, Statesman Nation. We're going to preview a whole full docket of action coming up this weekend. Beginning with football is on the road. Hopefully we get a full game in. Sounds like there might be a little rain, but it doesn't sound like it's anything crazy, and maybe nothing down in Missouri. I don't know. But football, 2 o'clock start Saturday at Missouri Valley. This is a team that is 3-2 right now, but all their wins are against the winless teams out of the north, Peru State, Clark, and Graceland. So they're a little deceiving, not really sure who they are. They played pretty well against Grandview and Culver Stockton, but lost both of those. Really good quarterback. Jake Bridges has thrown for almost 1,200 yards. So it should be interesting. I think if we can slow him down, make them one-dimensional, or try to force them to run more, we're going to play right into our hands. The team's going to be ticked off. Didn't get to play a full game, didn't get a chance to win last week, so I'm looking for a big game from the Statesmen.
Yeah, I am too, and I think they got to find a way to kind of gather back that momentum they had before the game. It was kind of a somber ending to that rain-out game. The Statesmen had a good bit of momentum coming into that game. It looked like they were starting to get the offense going, and unfortunately, like we talked about earlier, the rain out and all that. So if they can find a way to keep that momentum going and keep channeling that us against the world mentality that they've garnered ever since they defeated Baker, I look forward to a good game from the Statesmen.
Yeah, it's a long road trip, but again, Missouri Valley not the best. This is one that you really need to step up, take a win, because then you start North play, and it's time to really buckle down and get some wins off the board. And if they can keep mixing in a little passing game into their attack and keep confusing defensive coordinators, it should be better.
Yeah, no, this is I think one that you got to check off is, okay, we're marked as we got to take this win. We need to move into North Division play in a couple weeks, because you get this one, you can go into that bye week and get everybody healthy and you're excited, and then you got homecoming the next week. I mean, you could really start reeling off some stuff pretty quickly here. So see if Alex Crehan will be behind center again. He's been doing really well since taking over the program, taking over that spot. And I guess we'll just see what the situation holds. So women's volleyball's got a couple, like you said, hopefully an easier week coming up.
Yeah, they really have had a rough stretch lately. They've really had a really rough, first 60% of the schedule. Really put some quality teams right off the bat, especially in the heart. Been on the road a lot. That's not really going to change. They have 2 of the next 3 matches are at home. Their next 2 matches are at home. Or on the road, excuse me. Yeah. Starting with Mount Mercy on Friday. Mount Mercy, 13-7, but 3-4 in the heart. Pretty comparable to us, I think.
They took Grandview to 5, so they're a solid team.
Yeah, they're
nobody
solid.
will overlook.
They're solid.
Yeah.
But still capable of being beat on any given night. They have a couple of DSs that are really good. And then Saturday they travel to Canton to take on Culver Stockton. Culver Stockton, a team on paper that they should beat.
Yeah.
There's Culver's 7-11 overall, 2-6 in the heart. But I mean, no match is going to come easy, especially this time of the year when teams are really starting to fight for their lives a little bit. And I expect nothing different from the Statesmen as well. And then next Tuesday they have Peru State at home. Peru State has been struggling as late, but they do have a couple wins in the heart.
Beat us. They beat us.
Yeah. So 5-17 overall, 2-4 in the heart. Let's see if we get them at home. How that changes. Once again, health is kind of a question right now with Libby Zorn and Alyssa Young. We don't know how much longer they're going to continue to be out. But if they're able to get those 2 back within the next 3 games, I expect a couple wins from the Statesmen here in the next 3 games.
Yeah, I think it's fully possible the team goes right in. They could win all 3, and if they do, then they put themselves right back in position to be a top 3 team. Which if you're in the top 3 in the North, you go to the tourney and everything. So hoping that will be the case. They're going to need to get them for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's encouraging. I saw Libby practicing yesterday, so hopefully that means she's back sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
On the men's soccer side, as we said, the big one, Central Methodist, number 1 in the nation, defending national champs, come to town for a 7:30 start on Saturday. Again, could be raining, could be on the turf. Either way, it's at home, so you got to feel excited about that. And it's Pentoberfest, so there'll be root beer and think brats and pretzels, all that fun stuff. So should be really cool. We're really excited. I won't be there, so you guys have to cheer on really loud for me. But man, that could be a massive win for a program that just keeps on trending upwards.
Yeah, and once again, we talked about it last week. They really have a thing for winning these big time games.
Yeah.
Didn't get it done last year against Central Methodist, but Central Methodist is there's a reason they're number one in the nation.
Exactly.
I mean, they're big, athletic, strong, especially on the defensive end. They don't give up too many goals.
No.
So I mean, the guys are gonna have to work cut out for them, but they have as much momentum as this program's ever had before coming into this one, and these guys, they're fired up and they're ready to take on Central Methodist. I think a lot of the guys remember how that felt, losing to them. They had a lot of momentum going last year in this game.
Yeah, we had the longest win streak in school history, and then just got drubbed by them down there.
Yeah,
so
maybe a lot of those guys remember that feeling. They don't want it to happen again.
Yeah, it will be, in essence, kind of the Missouri Valley game from last year, where it's let's grind out. Maybe it's a 2-1 win. Maybe it's 1-0. It's going to be a lot of emphasis on the wing backs. I was very privileged to go work the NAIA National Tournament last year, broadcast all the games except the final, watch Central Methodist, and was on the call for a couple of their games, especially their semifinal one. And they'll play a 4-3-3 unless they've changed that for this year. And they control things. They're not last year they weren't a high-tempo press team, but they really just goaded you in, took the ball back where they wanted to, maintained possession, and broke teams down. So it'll be really those five in the midfield for us. If we keep 3-5-2, that will be the key to this one, is how that interaction between the two midfield from each team play out. And if we can control like we have in the games we won and kind of keep our tempo and possession and control the ball, it's anybody's game.
Yeah. And you mentioned, tempo. Central Methodist likes to control the tempo and slow things down. We've seen this team play some of their best soccer when they're able to really get out and start running and getting good shots on goal and playing at a fast-paced tempo. So it'd be an interesting matchup there.
Yeah. There's no question that if we win this one, we'd be in the lead of the heart, probably a top 10 team at that point. Then you control your own destiny, and you're looking down the barrel of going to nationals for the first time ever. Even if you don't win this one, you've put yourself in a really good position.
Fantastic.
With pretty much everybody that's left outside of Missouri Valley, a team that is more than beatable. So you're in a really good position, and this would just be another, again, really, really big win for a program that's done so many great things lately. So from there, then they have another one of those, I don't want to say trap game, but it's going to be a reserve game basically against Faith Baptist Bible on Tuesday, going up to Ankeny is about the only difference between Faith Baptist and the Iowa Wesleyan game, but they don't want to overlook them. Just take care of business, get the win, because
stay healthy.
Yeah, and stay healthy, exactly. Yep. Because then less than 24 hours later, they're going to be back at home against Mount Mercy. A nice rivalry game. Those teams tend to be pretty well matched in the past. We've taken 4 out of 5 against them since way back in the day, way before you guys were here. But a crazy league tourney game that ended up going to PK's 13th round. Mount Mercy wins. Nobody remembers this but me, but it was.
How long ago was this?
Yeah, 2014. But it was a crazy game. But since then, we've pretty much owned the rivalry, the series. So this is definitely a trap game that you should win. But Mount Mercy's a solid team, and they've held their own. They're, I think, 3-1 in conference right now. So take care of business.
Little like Grandview then, because that was you should beat them. But here we go, goals aplenty and almost losing and winning overtime, but they found a way again, so that's what it's going to come down to.
Yep, definitely. All right, let's switch over to the other side of the women's side.
Same schedule, so they'll play first Saturday night against Central Methodist, a team that was receiving votes earlier, and as you mentioned, being a couple teams, they've moved into the actual numbered.
Yeah, I forget where they're ranked, but they have to be, I think, in the top 15, I'm pretty sure right now. So
that will be hard. Of course, we went down to Benedictine. There were 4 at the time, and it was not a fun game.
It's good first half, just second half just fell apart. Yeah, so
and
if they can play full 90.
That's literally what it's going to come down to is A, can they generate any shots? And B, if they can't, how can they change things so they don't fall apart in the second half? Because that's where it's been. You've been chasing games in the second half, and all of a sudden you're trying to push people up the field, and then you're not generating shots, which sucks. And on top of it all, then your back line is all out of whack, and you concede another goal, and then it starts getting into a bit of a runaway. So you have to come out strong defensively and hope to generate something on the counterattack. Faith Baptist Bible, not going to be the same like the men's team, where it won't be a reserve game, but you might see a deeper bench draw, and you might just see Jamie Highcock test to see maybe some of the new players that haven't played, because he's not really been able to sub a ton of people in. Throw some people out there, see what he's got. Maybe there's someone that surprises and gets more action for the rest of the Heart, and then Mount Mercy as well, and that could be one where they finally are able to get a conference win if they can't scrounge something up against Central Methodist.
Yeah, I think Mount Mercy, I hate to just say that there's only a few teams we can beat, but just right now we need to prove something. And Mount Mercy is a team that we can prove something against. Get that first league win and start moving forward, upwards in the standings, and hopefully get in the top 8. But it's going to take a lot of work, but you got to be a Mount Mercy team to do so. All right, cross country, like we had already mentioned, Brisbane Lundeen over in Rock Island, Illinois on Friday night. So it's going to be cold, which is great. It's good running weather versus 90 degrees and all that. So they're really excited, as we can tell. Really excited to get back on the course. Women's golf is still off for another
until the 12th, 13th.
Yeah, until next week. So, and then men's golf. Next Monday and Tuesday, they are co-hosting with Southeastern Community College. Their head coach is the father of our graduate assistant, Zach Swink. So they kind of collaborated together, said, hey, let's put a tournament out. So they'll be over in Burlington co-hosting at Spirit Hollow Golf Course, which is a great golf course. First time they'll be in Iowa, and last time in the fall that they'll actually play in a regular tournament. And by that, I mean just a regular stroke tournament, because then they go to Baker, the final tournament. It's a match play, which is kind of cool, just to play something different. So, but yep, it'll be interesting again to see what team gets thrown out there and how they compete. So, I believe that is it.
Yeah, kind of not really, because they're not in season. But
Talk about bowling in a second.
Talk about I'll end it was what I was going to say.
Okay. Remember what you
said. So it's a great week, especially we want to make sure everyone comes out to soccer home games, and then eventually when volleyball gets back home, keep packing the pack. And bowling starts there in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Right. Both teams go to all the same tournaments, so there's not really a difference between men's and women's. Yep. Both going to the same thing. So they'll get started at the Midwest Championships. Talked to Coach Brooks last week, and he's pretty excited with the squad that he's got. Some good mix of returners as well as newcomers. And they're both, it's the women who are in 6th, men are in 5th in the NAI coaches poll. And he's really excited, thinks they can beat expectations and do really well this season. And we'll get some early results here this weekend.
Yeah, I'm really excited on that women's side. Taking nothing away from the men. I think they're going to be really solid again. They lost a lot, but they'll be solid. The women have everybody back, basically, almost everybody back, and they brought in some really good bowlers as well. So that team should be amazing, actually. I don't want to put too much expectation on them, but they have a chance to do some really special things this year. So, all right, Jared.
Yeah, just something that I wanted to bring up. Obviously, they're not in season, but men's lacrosse kind of historic time right now. They're going to be on the road this weekend for their first
scrimmage.
Yeah, their first scrimmage. So I mean, that should be fun to see some feedback. We're a pretty hyped team, I think, going into their first season, and it'd be nice to see something.
It'll be interesting to find out how that went, because it sounds like these are going to be, I think they have North Dakota State and St. Thomas out of Minnesota, and it makes it sound like these are probably going to be the best two teams we face versus our actual regular schedule in the spring. So it'll be interesting to see how we stack up
out there. For sure. First Statesman Nation to follow along. I mean, it's a historic.
The score won't matter, but we'd just like to know how that kind of went down and everything.
Yeah,
so cool.
You can figure out what does it take to play lacrosse, and how do we stack up, and then women's will get underway, and lo and behold, basketball's right around the corner too. So.
Exactly. So keeps on rolling for sure. So, all right, Statesman Nation, thanks so much for joining us once again this week. Until next week, go Statesman.